From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief digital strategist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Mr. Todd Jones with me, and Todd and I are going to talk all about his new WebCopy system. This is one show you don't want to miss to supercharge your copywriting, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by All-in-One WP Migration, the most trusted WordPress migration plugin with over 60 million sites served. Whether you are switching hosts, changing domains, or moving to a new server, All-in-One WP Migration makes it one click. Try it for free at WordPress.org or visit servemass.com for pro features. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I have my guest, Mr. Todd Jones, with me. Hey Todd, how you doing, man?
I'm here.
Yeah, it's funny. We're going to this record, and I have to share this. You're in Arkansas, and what did you do recently? You put two Canadians together, actually from the Toronto area
Yeah.
together on a podcast. How the hang does that happen, you know?
You know, well, you're talking about
Yep.
Patrick Brown, who I've talked to a couple times. Um, he actually connected me with somebody in the States. So
Mhm.
how cool is that? That's how it works, right? Anyway, he had a guy who was basically doing outreach for him a while back.
Yep.
He may
Yeah, he
still be
did.
doing. He's still doing it. And the guy messaged me on Facebook, and I was real skeptical, right? But
Mm.
I'm like, but it wasn't like overly spammy how it was done. So I
Yeah.
interacted with the guy. I said, yeah, and next thing I know, I'm having a meeting with him. And so that's how I got connected with him. And then I thought he would be a great guy that would be on your podcast. And
Yeah, it was a good. It
I
was a
thought
good
I told you he
conversation.
was from Toronto, but I don't know that I
No.
did. Either way, he's from Toronto as well. So, I mean, I know Toronto. I know how it is. Saying somebody's from Toronto is like saying somebody's from Arkansas. It's a huge
Yep.
metropolis, and you could be from northern Toronto or southern, whatever. It's a long way from Springdale to Little Rock, et cetera. So, it could be like a 2-hour drive from one end to the other. I'm sure. So.
Yep.
But yeah, he's from the Toronto area like you are, and that's how
Yeah.
it goes.
And it's kind of crazy here. Just for reference, Patrick's podcast will air after this one, so it's worth noting that. And yeah, it's crazy here because we have this problem. We have a thing called the World Cup of Soccer coming into town,
Yeah.
and we've got 6 or
Are
8
there
games.
games going to be played in Toronto as well?
Yeah, 6 or 8, including
Okay.
Canada's first game, which
Okay.
I will be at. So there's that coming. We
I
also
haven't
have a
paid attention to where all the cities are hosted. I know Houston's got some, and New York's got some. I guess Toronto's got some. I don't know who else has got them.
Vancouver, and there's games in Mexico as well.
Yes,
Um,
I did hear about that. Yeah, so it's
it's
a
a
kind of
try.
a North American deal.
Yeah, it's a North American deal, and we have a month-long fan fest starting on the 12th or 13th, which I have. There were free tickets given out. You had to get them through Ticketmaster. I've got tickets
Oh,
for 2 dates. Some people
okay.
don't have any, so I'm lucky. I'm sitting on a few. What I could get. Let's put it that way.
Well, we all know
And
Canada's going to win it.
no, I
We all
wish.
we
I
all know
wish.
Canada's going to win it, right?
And I want to, before we get to what we were going to talk about, I have to share with you. I was in a local bakery this week, and they've obviously paid for licensing, but you know what they're doing? They've got a card that folds up to go in your wallet that's got all the World Cup games on it, the World Cup trophy on it,
Smart.
so you can write your scores in and their corporate branding on it. What a even if you paid for licensing, which I'm sure they did, this bakery's up and up. It's a Portuguese bakery that I love. And it's funny, I said to the lady, "Can I have one?" And she said, "Would you like five?" You can give them out. If they want, well, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
I know another company. Liz will tell you she's got me over the years because she has a friend who does it. They actually do the same thing for F1, yet they put out a brochure with all the races and again licensed, but with the
So,
corporate branding on
fun
it.
little fact. I'm gonna bring a little bit of Arkansas history to you. Are you
Sure.
ready?
Yeah, go.
What's the big college team in Arkansas?
The Razorbacks.
Exactly, the Razorbacks. Okay. There's a movie from the 70s called White Lightning. Remember that
Yeah.
movie? Burt
Yes, I
Reynolds.
do. I do.
Um, it's a good little movie. Well, it was filmed in Saline County, which is just south of Little Rock. So it's in the Little South Little Rock area.
Yeah.
But in the film, they're supposed to be in Florida. If you pay attention, they're like they call him Gator. The character's name is Gator McCluskey. But it's all
Yep.
filmed in Saline County, which is just south of Little Rock. And in the sheriff's office, you see that scene. Remember, they're supposed to be in Florida, but they're using the Saline County courthouse, and in the background, you can see on the wall a Razorback uh, schedule, calendar schedule. Or I don't know if it's a calendar, but it had this Razorback schedule. Of course, any team that's local to people, they'll put out schedules and all that kind of stuff you can hang on your wall. So anyway, a little fun trivia for you that in that scene in White Lightning, you can clearly see it's a Razorback schedule in the background in a movie that's supposed to be in Florida. But anyway,
Yeah.
Jack
And by
Reacher
the
is saying,
way, yeah. And as Todd's and my segments go, we have to get 10 minutes of sports and life out of the way. And it's worth mentioning, since we're talking about Arkansas and the Razorbacks, they're in the SEC. And if you know what's going on in college football right now, somebody suggested maybe the SEC should say, go away NCAA and go on their own. And
yeah,
that would be the biggest mistake they could make, in my opinion. But
I don't want to see them do that. Um,
yeah.
but I kind of understand a little bit. But right now, Arkansas fans are not happy with the SEC because how they schedule Arkansas's first three ball games. But anyway,
By
that's
the way, nor is FSU fans happy with the ACC and so on and so forth.
because of how they schedule the games. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
We
got
we
it.
get we get Georgia this year. That's an easy game, so we're excited about that. I think they got to go to Athens too, so that's going to probably be beat down. But let's a little bit of good news for Razorback fans. Anybody who's listening who happens to be a Razorback fan and even cares, our women's team
Mm.
has made the World Series, the Women's College World Series for the first time
Mm.
in its history. It's a big deal here. So we're excited about that. They play their first game tomorrow against
Mm.
Nebraska. So
Yep.
it's been a long time coming, and
Yep.
that team was started in '98, I believe. And
Mm.
in 2016, when Courtney Doffel, the head coach, came to Arkansas, they lost every single series in the SEC. And
Mm.
so, the turnaround is kind of complete, if you will. So anyway, there's some positive
Yep.
news for you.
And before we move on, I just want to take a moment. Um, and here's where I start to lose it. The last week's been a rough week for me and my family. You know that. And I have to tell you, my inbox is full of DMs this morning of people reaching out. For those who don't know, my brother Gord passed away last week due to several severe cardiac episodes. And I just want to say to everybody, thank you for the wishes. They're appreciated. My family appreciates them. We appreciate them. And there's not much more to be said there. So. Thank you so much. Um, let's jump in. Today we're going to talk about the website copy framework, the
No,
new
no, no.
copy framework,
Back up. The web copy system.
the web copy system. Sorry, and that's fair. And the it was based on the old website copy framework. That kind of I don't know if it was based on is a good word, but the was the inspiration for it at one time.
Yeah.
Um, we'll put some links into the show notes. I know you're running a bit of a sale right now. We can talk about that later. But I think the key word here is you're doing a system because people think using AI is I get up in the morning, I throw Gemini or ChatGPT or OpenAI a few prompts, and I get what I want. And I think that's the biggest mistake going. Um,
Yeah,
what
it's one of the reasons
inspired?
I call it a system.
Yep. So go ahead.
It's one of the reasons I call it a system. And yeah, there's a lot of. I had to kind of rebuild it from the ground up, but there was a
Yep.
whole lot of inspiration from the website copy framework. As you remember, the website copy framework was basically worksheets to help you gather the information you need, and then you have a series of frameworks for each page that you kind of follow and you put it together yourself. It's kind of a do-it-yourself, and this is
Yep.
too to some degree. But as you know, when OpenAI launched ChatGPT to the general public, it changed everything and copy
Hmm.
content, whatever. And here's the truth: I have tried a number of writing based AI systems,
Yep.
free trials,
Me too.
whatever. And some are impressive, but they didn't quite do things the way I wanted to do them. And so I wasn't totally on board with them. I will tell you this. I'll say this: the best system, AI SaaS system that I have come across that I like is not for this kind of process. Is distribution.ai, which is run by Ross
Yep.
Simmons. Um,
Yep.
so it does. You can take what you learned from the website or the web copy system and use that to help build out remix content in the distribution AI if you choose to. But that's the only one that I would recommend to people at this point. And I think there'll probably be
Hmm.
some that'll pop up eventually. I have talked a lot
Yep.
about how I've chosen not to do this as a SaaS to lock people in. And one of the reasons why, Rob, as you and I know, people have their own workflow.
Yep.
Some people
I
like
do.
Claude. Some people like Gemini. Some people want Chat GPT.
Hmm.
Some people want something else. Totally fine. I don't want people to feel like, oh, you have to go. That's why it's not a GPT, a chat, for Chat GPT, or a
Yep.
Gem for Gemini, which Gem is the GPT
Yep.
part of
Yep. Yep.
so you can create a system with whatever workflow. And I'll tell you right now that one of the people who have bought the web copy system has done exactly that. She has built her own stack for content,
Hmm.
and the engine that runs it is the web copy system.
I'm gonna stop.
So
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you right there for a sec because I think what's really important is you're not locking people into one AI platform. You're building a system that's agnostic, that doesn't matter what you use. And I think what people in AI got to remember is jumping around from AI product. So if you're using ChatGPT, OpenAI, and by the way, OpenAI slash Copilot by Microsoft, I'll lump in the same bucket because Copilot's an investor. Microsoft and OpenAI and Copilot's based on OpenAI, so I'll lump that in the same bucket, or Gemini. And the reason I think this is important not to be bouncing around AI products is the more you use one product, the better it gets for you.
mhm.
And it trains itself. So I know one of my biggest bitches, and it's my shows, so I can use that word, is my last name gets misspelled a lot
Oh
with
yeah,
AI products.
it
It gets
does.
spelled
Yeah,
with a K all the time. You know, Gemini never misspells my last name anymore
yeah,
because I
yeah. I don't
use
think
it
I
so
think when I
much.
bring you up, I don't think it misspells it either. But you've come up a lot in conversations on Gemini for me. So in fact,
Because
they have
it
a they
trains
have a,
itself.
in fact, a problem I'm having with Gemini right now, and I have to chastise it. It keeps adding two of your past um, historical things that you've done, healthcare IT and COBOL. It keeps attaching that to me, and I have to say every time, that's not me, that's Rob. And
Yeah.
anyway, it's a funny little quirk that I have with Gemini. like your skills of COBOL and
Yeah.
healthcare IT, and I'm like, that's not
Those
me.
are mine.
Anyway,
Those are mine.
yes, I
Yeah.
don't know why. Somewhere along the way, it's crossed its wires, and it keeps. I
Mhm.
know I've probably discussed your story there, and anyway, it's just like, why are you? Anyway, just it's funny little. It's a funny little quirk that I have with Gemini, like trying to tell it that I'm
By the
not.
way, not to derail this argument, but if you want to do something fun, and I've shared this publicly on my blog, and Gemini's even refined it, is go put my partner's name in. Go put in who is Tiz Maroney and see what comes up. It's really
Okay,
interesting.
I'll have to look.
And
I'll have to do that.
she is not um active like you and I are on social. Like she's got an Instagram account, she's got a Facebook account, but it's an interesting experiment. Um,
Okay, you need to
well,
remind
but
me to do that.
yeah, I will. It's quite fun. Um, what I'll say to you is people need to build their business around systems, not prompts. So right away,
Yeah.
and I don't care if you're building a copywriting system, if you're building a email system, if you're building a lead gen system, they're systems, not just I'm going to do lead gen. And I think that's really important. I actually don't think, like, looking at this pricing, and I'm going to go there. You normally charge $97. You have a sale on right now for $57, right?
Yeah, if you look on the thing,
US.
I think it's got like 3 days left or something like that
Yeah.
on
And
that.
I
So
would say even at $97 for what you're offering, this is a bargain. Like
yeah,
honestly, you've done all the work for somebody to help them systemize their workflow. And
yeah, and if somebody wants to, and I haven't made a productized service with this yet, but I can create a productized service where basically you say,
yep,
I want to do this, but I need you to help do this with me. Okay, that's a productized service, so I would charge a little bit more. We would go
yep,
through it. There is a part that you have to do because what we're doing is uncovering the things that in your story, the brand story that you have, which will then go into become the source material for the copy within the prompt, if that makes
mhm,
sense. So
yeah, it does. Yep.
you dump all that information in. The first thing you're going to do is build a brand master file. That's what it's called. And there's some questions. There's a couple ways to do it. One is if you have documentation already,
Mhm,
you can upload all that and let it sort it for you and create the brand master
mhm,
file. Or you
mhm,
can do what's called the Echo, where it's like a coach guide. It interviews you and you answer the questions, and it builds that brand master file. That becomes your one source of truth at that point. And you're also going to build the tone of voice filter
yep,
so that it sounds like you. And so you got to have those two things. They're like the key, right? Before you ever start using like the homepage prompt or the about page prompt or whatever, you got to have those two things
yep,
because then, and so with, okay, I'm going to use Claude for example. With Claude, you can build a project. You can put, uh, you can put those files in the brand master file, tone of voice, and you can upload all the prompts, and from that file, without having to upload again, you should be able to run your project. Okay, I want to run the web copy. I want to run the web copy system, or I want to do the homepage, whatever. So that's every LLM's got a way to do a project. Basically, some of them call it something different. But nevertheless, if you can do a project in your LLM, you should be able to upload all those and keep your chat within that, and it'll should retain the context of who you are, and that's what the brand master file is for. So yeah, and then you start doing the prompts for each page.
yep.
Now, let me just say this: there's always a need for editing, human editing. Um,
Always.
and I think I even included a editing prompt in there, but nevertheless, you need to go through and check everything. It should spit out everything fairly accurately, and it
Yep.
should be close to your voice. You might want to polish it a little bit. You might want to run it through another editing prompt, if you have a comprehensive editing prompt, whatever.
Mhm.
What I find is this is really ideal for people who are starting their business for the first time, or they're making a transition
Yeah.
and maybe their budget doesn't allow for a high-end copywriter,
Yeah.
or they don't want to make that investment at this time.
Mhm.
So this is not, I mean, ideally you'd want to have a great copywriter to do this, but not everybody's in that boat, and that's what this is for. So it's a great if you're transitioning. And right now, Rob, there's a lot of people who are transitioning into business space because they've gotten laid off or whatever, or they decided this is the time to do that business I've always wanted to do, and they're making a go at it. And this is a great piece to use to help them get that, without having
Yeah.
to spend. And again, the ideal situation would be to hire a great copywriter, a professional copywriter. But if that's not in your budget, it's not the timing's not right. This is a great way to help you, because the worst thing you want to do is to sit on your hands and not do anything, right?
I agree.
So,
I agree.
um,
I would also
anyway, so
say,
I
you know, you said something real interesting. You said a lot of people are transitioning, and I think, and we're in a bit of a rough economic time at the time of this record. There's a war going on in Iran. It's killing gas prices. Expenses are going up. We got a global tariff disaster where everybody's fighting with everybody right now. We've got new immigration rules coming in. We got all kinds of shit going on. And to be fair, I truly believe the best time to build a business is when there's economic uncertainty out there. It's been proven. My classic example is Jeff Bezos and Amazon. Amazon was built during the dot-com bust in the 80s. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I would say to anybody, if you're building a business, hang in there. Now's a good time. So, and I agree with it. Now, I have to ask you, it's AI agnostic, meaning it doesn't matter which AI product you use. Does it work better with one or the other, or does it really not matter?
I don't know that it matters. I would be interested to see people like try it with different LLMs and see what the output is.
Hmm.
I think some will probably do a better job than other. I think I uploaded some of that to Perplexity and was pretty not stunned or shocked, but pleasantly surprised at how well it did. And if you're like me, you kind of use different LLMs for different things.
Yeah,
I mean, Gemini is my heavy user. Like I do a lot of heavy lifting with Gemini,
so
but
do
I
I.
use Claude for a lot of storytelling.
Hmm.
And so, in order to do that and keep the tokens down, I've created systems that will allow me to use less tokens. So that's great.
Yeah.
Um, I get a lot of. I play with ChatGPT more now than actual business type stuff, but it's still got some fun stuff there. The way they do images now is a lot better than it used to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And then I play with Perplexity a lot, and I'm actually surprised with what it can do.
Hmm.
Um, and then I have started playing with Quinn, some
Yeah.
QWEN, and it's pretty good for research and brainstorming. And then I have a hugging chat and a typing mind so that I can experiment with other
Hmm.
LLM models, particularly the open source ones. That's one I'm working on trying to explore more,
Hmm.
because I feel one day I may have a local setup of some kind where I can run whatever open source models I want to use. But I'm
Yeah.
still exploring that right now. Our friend Ryan is building him a empire in his house so that he can
Oh no,
run all.
no question,
Yeah,
no
and
question.
so I'm not there. None of my computers can handle that. Either
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to build a new
Mine
system.
can, and I'd rather just use the online SaaS versions. It's easier.
Well,
I have,
you do have stuff like Typing Mind and some others that you can tap into
yep,
several,
yep.
and then Hugging Chat as well. And So yeah, and then I think you'll have more, and there's already some out there now, but I think there will be some more cloud hosting for some of that in the future. I even one of my hosting providers, I even suggested to them that they consider
Mm.
allowing people to host their open source LLM models as another option, and they said they were thinking about it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I expect to see. I've already seen some hosts advertise that they do that. So that's what you'll see. They'll start. You'll see some hosts get into that where they're like,
You
okay,
can also go build those on a Docker container or things like
sure you
that. So
can. Yeah, Amazon has
there's a
got them. There's several out there actually.
and
I will
that
say that for
that
a seasoned developer, that's not a big deal. But for
yeah,
somebody who's maybe more of a creator and less of a developer, it's a little bit,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. I also play with Google AI Studio a lot, and have
So
built
do I.
two private apps that are for two of my products, and they're AI assistant learning modules,
Mm-hmm.
basically. One for the founders about page roadmap, and one for the remarkable content system. Both of them have learning modules that have that are AI app contained. So that was something I'm going to experiment with some more, because I had a really good email yesterday from somebody. So like, ah, anyway, we'll be experimenting. That'll be a future show. We'll talk
Yeah,
about the new generation of lead magnets, but we're
yeah,
not
it's
there yet.
coming. We are not there yet. Now, what I will say is, I know my AI product, of course, is Gemini. You know that.
Mhm.
I work in a Google world. I have a Pixel phone. It just makes sense. One of the things Google just did, and I don't use workspaces. So a lot of people in the Google world use workspaces. I actually use
Mhm.
Google
Yeah.
One. The
Yeah, me
reason
too.
I do that, the reason I use Google One is um, I choose not to host my email on Google, so I don't need workspaces.
Right.
Fastmail is my email provider of choice for a long, long time. Um, Part of it is I can set up rules on the mobile app on the fly. For me, that's a big deal. You can't do it in a Gmail app, unfortunately.
The Gmail
Um,
apps are always kind of iffy.
yep. And they just increased the Google One tier I'm on, the AI tier, from 2 terabytes to 5 terabytes of data storage. What a smart move by Google, because once people start using that and they realize it's a pain in the you know where to get their data out of it, they'll just keep paying. So
Yep.
it's a really good
Yeah.
move, I think.
I did just
Um,
upgrade to Plus myself, and so I have a premium, the second level up, I think, of the Gemini. So
yeah.
I can use it pretty much unlimited, almost not, maybe not unlimited. Feels unlimited to me, no more than I use it. So
As long as you're not doing API calls from other apps, and that's where people have gotten hit with these large token bills, and so you know I would be really careful with that. I mean, I have a lot to say in the next while about WordPress 7, which just came out, and AI token calls. There's been a lot said. If you want to read a little more about that, go do a search on my friend Kathy Zant, and then
mm,
read her security article. It was on the nose. I'm hoping to get Tim Nash back on the show very soon to talk about that issue. But just be aware of that.
to
AI
your
token
question,
spends.
about which LLM the system would work
Yeah,
on better, I'm
yeah,
going to say this. This is kind of speculation on my part, but I think it's pretty reasonable. I would use it on whatever you use the most,
most.
because it will have the most context for you.
Yep, agreed.
So you're going to train it essentially on the fly with the brand master file with what you need to know. But if you're using something you never use, you might not have the results you want.
Hmm.
But if you're using, like, if you're a heavy Gemini user, then use it with Gemini. If you're a heavy ChatGPT user, use it with ChatGPT. And all those have a project infrastructure that you can use, which is kind of, can be temporary, can be long term. I have 5 projects in Claude, which is what I'm allowed on a free plan, and
Yep.
they're all basically systems that operating systems for content. So I need to do a YouTube video on that. But anyway, that is that's what um, I'm doing with that. I think a project is a way to go because you can put everything, all the prompts. They're all markdown files, so they're not heavy. Like I used to do PDFs for this stuff, but PDFs are, if you're really paying attention to tokens, it will eat up a lot of tokens. A markdown
You
file
will.
is much leaner, and so that's a good way to go. Some of
So
your
little trick is do a markdown file and then convert it offline, and don't get the LMN to do it. Do it yourself.
well, convert. Do what now?
You can you can convert a markdown file to a PDF
Well,
out
yeah,
of the
if you want it PDF, but I mean, there's no reason because the LLM is going to read it. But yeah, if you want it, you can definitely convert it. What some people do is they have the PDF and they need to convert it to a markdown
yeah,
file. But a
yeah.
markdown file, it kind of takes me back to my web dev pages a little bit because I'm looking at it in VS was it VS Code, that was called the Microsoft one, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I feel like a developer again a little bit when I'm playing with it on the inside. But anyway, yeah, it's markdown code, and LLMs read that really well. Has more structure, the hierarchy, and it uses less tokens because it's smaller. We're talking about kilobytes instead of megabytes, kind of stuff. And
Yep.
but I will say this: if you're on a free plan, pay attention to how many files you can upload. That sometimes can be a thing that you have to deal with. But if you have a premium, you shouldn't have any problem with it.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe one day I'll just put them all in one file. But they're all there's about 8 or 9 files, I believe. I've added some bonus stuff in there as well. So
Yep.
anyway, that sale goes off. I think in 3 days. I don't know when this comes
Mhm.
out, um, but I might just keep something going for listeners of this show.
It
So
will
I'll
come
get a
out.
code.
It will come out after the 3 days. So
Yeah. So let me get a code for the STM show listeners, and that way that you can buy it on sale. But it will go back to the $97. And if you're interested in it, but you want to have like somebody walk with you, you don't want to like do it. Right now it's a total do it yourself.
hmm
Um,
hmm
Take it and run with it kind of thing. But if you want that hand holding, let me know. We'll
work
configure a
something out.
productized service where you can, yeah.
Mm. And what we'll do is we'll put a couple things in the show notes. We'll put a link. You give me a couple links, one to the page to buy, one to an article about the system, and we'll put the coupon code right in the show notes, and then you can just go ahead and do it. We'll make it really easy for you. Um, Todd, I wish you really luck with the system. I think that's the key. I think it takes a lot of the groundwork out of it for a lot of people. And is there anything else you'd like to add about it that you think is?
You know, there's a couple other products that I think eventually that it'll all be rolled into one system.
Yep,
The brand DNA
yep,
product, and then the content remix OS. Those are all sold separately right now, but I think one day I'll probably put all those in there. But I would have them, look at the entire Gumroad store and see if there's anything else there that uh, some of the stuff is low price, some are on sale,
mhm.
some are not. So, including the scar tissues pack, which is a series of 4 founder stories. One of them is yours. So
Yes.
that's in there, and I think that's on sale right now as well. So
And that leads me to another point. If you haven't done a founder story, you should do one now because it's really important. So, yeah.
more so now than it used to be.
It is because people aren't hiring the way they used to. So I think it's really important. So, Todd, as always, thank you very much, sir. And go on over to Copyfied, find out more about Todd's products, what Todd does, how he does it. Always appreciate, my friend. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again to our sponsor, All-in-One WP Migration by ServeMask. Export your entire WordPress site in one click, import it anywhere. No server access needed, no command line, works with every hosting provider. Free on WordPress.org, or extension at servemask.com. Very special thank you to Todd Jones for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.